Here we go. All right. Boy, I got so many pings. Boy, and I was on work travel, and I'm like, okay, what has happened? All right, so I'm going to talk about it from all angles tonight. Now, I want to first I'm going to address the human side of this. If I was Maxx Crosby, I would be in great depression if knowing what happened, okay? That means I was already probably choosing homes, going to the Ravens, talking to new coaches, talking to new teammates, and just to say, nope, you got to go back to the Raiders, a place that he was frustrated with. I can only imagine the mental frustration that he's going through. And you know he's a redhead, so he has a temper. He definitely has a temper, okay? Now, I had to come to this understanding because in the last 24 hours since we got the news, I've been trying to wrap my head around this also. Oh, and guess what? I got some clips also from Titus Howard, okay? So I gotta remind myself to play those clips. But this is what I have been stressing, and now I know what it truly means, okay? Ever since February, I've been saying that early negotiations for free agency was on March the 9th. But I heard, and I remember I said, but free agency in terms of signing that contract is not until March the 11th. So basically, and especially when it came to Titus Howard, remember I said it's not official until he signs the contract on March the 11th. Well, come to find out, that's for any and all players that had got a conditional contract or trade agreement. Nothing is solidified or was solidified until 4 o'clock today. Why am I bringing that up? Why am I stressing that heavy? A lot of people are saying, even though the agreement was on the table for Baltimore to take Maxx Crosby from the Raiders, it was not solidified or could not be solidified until 4 o'clock today. So that means that the Ravens at 3:50 p.m. today could have reneged and pulled back the agreement they had with the Raiders. Now, everybody's also highlighting that everybody knew that Maxx Crosby had this condition. He had this injury. He just had surgery. So everybody's saying this, okay, well, everybody knew about Maxx Crosby. I even knew about Maxx Crosby injury, and I'm not even a Raiders. But they are saying that maybe the Baltimore's, when they found out that Trey Hickerson was still available, they reneged. Okay, I got some clicks. Hold on, let me. I gotta stay on this. I gotta stay on this right here. Go to flip and burn. No wonder they canceled Magic Man. They ain't had nothing to do with that 420. That had nothing to do with. See, you need to go in time out. NFL had nothing to do with no Magic City, okay? And Magic City Monday. I'm not messing with you. You already turned. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this 420. I do too. But guess what? Remember when I went over the caps for each team, the salary cap? The Raiders was number 2. They still had about $90 million on the table. They still could utilize. And maybe that's why they may keep Maxx. They may keep Maxx. We don't know yet because we know they got Tyler Lindenberg over there, the one that we wanted. Look, the ripple effects have not even been seen. The impact from this trade agreement not going through, we haven't even seen the domino effect of this. We're hearing it, but we haven't seen it. Because what if they didn't have the cap? I don't know, but I'm going to play some clips. I'm going to play this clip. Our free agency is insane. Yes, hey, what's up, Sell More? What's up? All right, hit that. Oh, yeah, hit that like button. Yeah, thank you. I can't see it, but thank you. Please echo that. Good evening. Donna C. 1,000 subs on the way. Let's make it happen tonight. No, but Maxx Crosby is talking like he was. Remember, this came out last week. He was already taking pictures in Baltimore, looking at homes. What if this man had already signed, let's say, a mortgage loan in Baltimore, Is Baltimore going to get him out of that? Now he probably still be in the escrow window where he can, we don't know what type of trauma this has done to his family unit if he's married, but I know what it's doing to him mentally. And let's talk about him. Hold on, let me finish this comment. I saw him saying goodbye. Yes, he was saying goodbye to the Raiders and moving forward to the, yes. Now, do you know what this does to his career? We got to say, do you know what it has done to his career? Well, you know, everybody is saying, well, okay, if the Baltimore Ravens didn't want him, what is it we don't know? I'm talking about the other 31 teams. Let's say the other 31 teams. They was like, well, okay. And I heard that the Cowboys was second in line in terms of getting him. But have you heard the Cowboys say, hey, we finna offer Maxx Crosby a contract? All the other 31 teams are wondering, like, okay, what is it we don't know about? Why he didn't pass the physical? Now, I did hear this. Each team is medical examination, physical examination is subjective. So just because he didn't pass the Baltimore Ravens physical, he could pass somebody else physical. But guess what? Now that somebody has officially said that they will not trade 2 number 1 picks for Maxx Crosby based off what they saw in his medical records, do you know that the other teams have a right? I'm not going to say low ball, but probably offer maybe 2 2s or 3 3s based off this hit that his contract has hit or just his personal resume has hit. This has never happened in the NFL before, and I got proof. Let's see here. Yes, the damage is done. It's done. I heard one commentator say that analysts say that he actually has a scarlet letter on him now. That's going to follow him. Now, the only thing that can resolve this, let's say he stays at the Raiders or he goes to another team, and this year he blows all the competition out the water, then the Baltimore Ravens is going to look like they're the one foolish. But based off of that medical physical exam, it was something there they didn't like. Now, it does not stop any other team from offering him a contract. But have you heard any other team in the NFL say anything about Maxx Crosby? That means all of them are on pause because they don't understand what's going on. Even though everybody knew about his injury and his surgery, it's something in those files that we'll never know because of HIPAA, okay? Now, I did hear Skip Bayless had stated that he wished, now this was the video from 2 days ago, he wished that Jerry Jones was not so stingy and when it gave up that second first round for Maxx Crosby. This was Skip Bayless now, but Skip Bayless also said he wondered why Jerry Jones was not going to give up 2. He said he'll give up 1 for Maxx Crosby, not 2. Well, maybe at that time, it was the Cowboys doctor that had already told Jerry Jeudy about something that he saw in Maxx Crosby's medical records. Well, why I bring that up? Well, the word on the street is it was the Cowboys doctor that basically gave or rejected or told the Baltimore Ravens that he didn't pass the test. He didn't pass the physical. It was something along with that meniscus disc or MRI that scared the Baltimore's away. This is what I'm hearing, and I'm going to show proof. Let's talk about it. That's messed up. I hate how they gossip and conclude against people. Yeah, but guess what, Amber? I got a doctor saying what I'm about to play. A doctor is about to say this, okay? Yes. If Maxx Crosby is fine, now this doctor is going to say it takes longer than 2 months to fully heal from a meniscus, okay? So I'm going to play what a doctor said. A doctor said. This is messy. Yeah, we need to watch this. This look very suspicious. Right. So if everybody knew this, but they said they think that they saw something worse in the MRI than expected. So we got to go with that. But then we don't see another team because the teams share information. So I don't know if it's collusion or a true medical issue, but we'll find out. This looks suspicious, so Tua can work with head. Come on with it. And guess what? I'm glad you brought that up. So the Colts also signed a deal with Daniels, Daniels, Jason Daniels, whatever his name is. He actually failed his physical with the Colts, but the team has the right to say, okay, well, we'll deal with that. We'll take that risk and we'll move forward with it. And that's why Josh Daniels or whatever his name is, he got signed to the Indianapolis Colts. So yeah, you can fail a physical and the team has the right to say, no, we still going to pull you in and you're going to be on the team and we'll just work with you and train you and what they call it, recover and do physical therapy with you. But for some reason, the Baltimore Ravens won't touch him. All right, hold on. I got through there. So let me go ahead and play this clip so you can see exactly what I'm alluding to, okay? Now, this is from ESPN, okay? So I'm going to have to play it and then stop it. Play it and then stop it. So I don't get a copyright. And that's why I'm not going to throw this video up here, but I want you to hear this doctor say now.
Pocket, allegedly. Now, we don't know the ins and outs of this entirely. I think the whole world knew Maxx Crosby wasn't healthy, right? Wasn't that kind of the big deal with him at the end of the Raiders situation is he wanted to play. They said he couldn't play. Pete Carroll came out and said, like, doctors just said we can't do this. And then Maxx Crosby felt disrespected by the Raiders because he's like, all I ever try to do is play for the Raiders. Everybody wants me to get traded somewhere else.
Oh, God. No. Hold on, Vestas. I actually hit the button.
Crosby wasn't healthy, right? Wasn't that kind of the big deal with him at the end of the Raiders situation is he wanted to play. They said he couldn't play. Pete Carroll came out and said, like, doctors just said we can't do this. And then Maxx Crosby felt disrespected by the Raiders because he's like, all I ever try to do is play for the Raiders. Everybody wants me to get traded somewhere else. All I want to do is play for the Raiders. I want to play for the Raiders. Now you guys won't let me play because are you trying to tank to get the number 1 overall pick? That's not what I want to be a part of. Then he heard the stories coming out like Max never won. High school, he never won. College, he never won. Now in the NFL, he's never won. Maybe it's time for him to start thinking about winning because the team that he thought he was so close with obviously had a disagreement at the end of the day. Whole new generation in for the Raiders. Whole new movement of Raiders. Let's move on from Maxx Crosby. And in doing so, we'll get 2 number 1s as well. So we move on into a next generation with Fernando Mendoza, Brock Bowers, Ashton Genty, Tom Brady, probably a little bit more hands-on. We'll move on from the Maxx Crosby era of the Raiders. We'll thank him for his shit. There'll be no bad blood, but we'll also get a lot in return. In the Ravens, Jesse Minter, how you doing? Keep moving your defensive head coach. You got Lamar Jackson on one side. Now you got the Condor on the other side. It all made sense. It all felt like it made sense. All teams started acting
Okay. I had to pause it. That was a minute. Okay, got to get some commentary. So all he is doing is repeating everything that we know. He's repeating that, hey, everybody knew about Maxx Crosby. Maxx Crosby, he wanted to win with the Raiders, but he felt like the Raiders was tanking to get a first-round pick, which the Raiders, I'm not going to say they did it on purpose, but they did it on purpose in order to get Mendoza. That's if they pick him for number 1, okay? So he's just setting the stage. Now this doctor is about to come on, and what this doctor is going to say, I'm going, okay, that makes sense. But I still have to look at it. Everybody knew about Maxx Crosby's injuries. Okay, let's keep playing. Vestos.
All other free agents in certain positions started acting accordingly. You got guys signing on the Raiders for prove-it deals, basically. At quarterback rushing positions, I'll take a 1-year prove-it deal if I'm going to get an opportunity to get on the field. You got other people making signings. You got Baltimore Ravens kind of hamstring because of what they got bringing in there. Can't do other stuff. So everything kind of goes how it goes. And then last night we get a message, Ravens said we ain't doing it. Nope.
Okay, so we've already seen this meme, so I'm breaking it down. We already saw this when the headline came out. So this came from the Raiders. The Baltimore Ravens have backed out of our trade agreement with Maxx Crosby. We have no further comment at this time. Now, when the Raiders left it like that, cut and dry, I can tell that whole entire organization was, excuse my French, pissed hot because of this right here. They left it clean like that. So it is not over. I don't think it's over. I don't think it's over between the Raiders and the Baltimore Ravens, okay? Let me keep going. We don't have the money. We don't have the money for him. We don't have the money for 20. We don't have the cap space. I thought them little $25 million we had on the table, and that's probably gone already, but we don't have the money for him. Let's see here. Down to see, it looks like they have been dirty for a long time. In and out the locker room. In and off the field, the NFL has been dirty. Let me go ahead and bring this doctor up in here. Give me 1 second, Vestas. I want y'all to hear what this doctor say.
Well, we all knew he was going to fail physical. Didn't we kind of know that's kind of how we got to this whole situation with the injuries is kind of what it all is. Yeah, he couldn't pass physical, so sorry, we need those 2 1s back also too. We fucking need those after this. What? And also, yeah, we're signing Trey Hendrickson for 4 years, 115 million, same exact position, and we still have our 2 number 1.
Now that's the dirty part that they just talked about. You let Mike Crosby go in less than 24 hours or maybe 10 hours. You already got somebody in his position and offered him lower money. And guess what? They saved the first round picks they would have had to give to the Raiders. Oh, trust me. I'm saying based off that tweet, it's not over. This is not over. Let me keep going.
Picks for this year and next year. It's like, wait a minute. Whoa.
Trey Henderson.
So how many days until Wednesday, I guess this is the interesting thing about the tampering period, but nothing become official until Wednesday. And then being able to just say, nah, we ain't doing that because you failed a physical, even though everybody thought he was going to fail a physical anyways, until probably like June-ish, I think, July. Just an interesting dynamic here that doesn't look like it's good for the football gods. Yeah. It doesn't feel like this has been handled right. Joining us now is a man who's an NFL team
for
a long time, still a practicing.
He's an NFL doctor. Here we go, y'all.
Physician, I do believe. And also, he is owner and operator of the
Sports Injury Central,
which are a group of doctors and former sports medical people that watch injuries happen, and then they give their immediate diagnosis and projections. Remember, whenever we're calling games, we're like, we're not a doctor. We're not going to try to guess what that injury is. That's what they actually do. They do try to guess it. They put it out publicly, and they are normally spot on. On Monday, this man actually said, we wonder what the Ravens do with the physical because we all kind of know that he's probably not going to be able to pass it. It turns out to be that story. We appreciate him joining us right now in the middle of his workday, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. David Chow. How you doing?
Dr. David Chow is about to speak. For the next 2 to 3 minutes, listen closely to what he's going to say. Okay, Vestas? Here we go.
Doc, thank you for taking time on this ever-present moment here of team physicians making decisions, seemingly. Can you kind of just take us through why on Monday you put out the video wondering about the physical with the Baltimore Ravens? And can any team do this, I guess? Just kind of say, well, we don't like the physical, and how normal is this, if that makes sense, Doc?
Yeah, thank you. You are catching me between surgeries here, so sorry for the attire and so forth. But yeah, on Monday on my podcast, I said, look, if it's a meniscus repair, that's something that you can't pass a physical in 2 months, and it's only been 2 months. So the Ravens would have to project him to pass a physical. But there's an additional issue that's implied here. Apparently they did additional studies, and it's not just can he be ready for this season? Is it worth the 2 first draft picks in terms of did they find some wear and tear on his knee with the additional studies? And yes, the Ravens, it's a bad look, but they are 100% within their right to determine a failed physical, not only based on today not being able to pass a physical, but the projection or long-term health projections. And that's what's in question here. Your Colts just signed Daniel Jones. He technically fails a physical today from his Achilles, but they're not worried about it, and they're going to pass him on that portion. The Ravens, for some reason, were worried about it long-term, and there's nothing the Raiders can do about it. The league will not investigate. This is just the way that it is.
Okay.
Let me pause. Did you hear what he said? The good doctor said. Basically, the Ravens did not want to take a chance on signing Maxx Crosby with that knee issue, short-term or long-term. Now, of course, he can't say exactly what it is because it's against HIPAA law to actually put out exactly what's in that MRI on his knee. But let's see if an offer come out for Maxx Crosby at the end of the week. Let's give it to Friday. Tomorrow is what? Thursday. Let's give it to Friday. Let's give it to another 48 hours for everything to cool down. Now, if no one asks for Maxx Crosby by Friday going into Saturday, that means that it's more than a meniscus tear. This thing is whatever's going on in his body or his leg or whatever is bad. And no team is willing to touch him. The doctor got something else to say, okay? This thing is bad. So from a business standpoint, it seemed like the Baltimore Ravens was protecting their organization from another dead cap salary. and they're protecting their investments. They was gonna give up 2 first-round picks for somebody that probably couldn't even play this year. We don't know what's in this leg or his medical records. Let's keep going. It's almost done, Vestos. It's almost done. Let's keep going.
I appreciate you giving us the real scoop and the intel on how it actually works, the projection of potential passing of a physical in the future, and also degenerative stuff potentially happening. Is this one of those things, and I know you doctors are all super geniuses, so I don't want to knock anything, but is this something where one doctor will say, it's not a problem, and another doctor could say, it is a problem? So the Ravens can be within their right saying, our doctor said it was a problem, even if there was another doctor that said, whoa. Like if another team today trades for Maxx Crosby, gives a first rounder and a second rounder, and then their doctors pass the physical, it can be a differing of opinion, right? When you're trying to project what the future is, especially whenever it comes to the elite athletes and stuff like that.
100%. Doctors' analysis in some ways are like a scouting report. One GM may have this player graded as a first rounder, another as a high second rounder. They're not all unanimous on their opinions. And I don't think anyone's saying Maxx Crosby can't play football this fall. I think what the Ravens are saying is we're worried about our long-term investment in terms of what we might get based on what we're now seeing with the knee. Certainly they exchange medical information ahead of time. And the simple analogy I'll give you is when you purchase a home or sell a home, you enter escrow. There is a 10 or 14-day inspection period. And if the inspection doesn't go as planned for the buyer, they can unilaterally cancel the contract. The roof doesn't have to leak for you to cancel the contract. You can just say, the roof is older than I thought it was and might need to be replaced earlier than I thought it was. So I'm not buying this home unless you discount it, or I'm dropping out of escrow. And that's probably the similar situation analogy that I would give you.
Okay, on that note, if I publicly announced that I was buying a house and the house publicly was announcing that I was buying it as well, and it was a massive celebration and a big deal, and the roof wasn't leaking water, I would assume that I would be okay with the physical being passed. It appears as if they found out. Now, granted, our sources have told us that Trey Hendrickson was dreaming, if he was going to go to the Ravens, of playing with Maxx Crosby. That's kind of what all the intel is from the Trey Hendrickson camp that we have learned, both from Shedeur and from our own research into that world, is that they were basically fantasizing about a time with he and Maxx Crosby on the same D-line.
And they just go. So if you want to go back and watch that clip came from, you know what? I didn't even say it. I go through my history. So yes, Amber, I will say yes. The Baltimore Ravens, they were. So let's look at it from a standpoint, from a business standpoint. I'm not saying it's collusion, because I'm thinking, okay, they knew about this months ago. That's why I think Maxx Crosby didn't even play the last 2 games of the regular season because of his knee. At that time, the Raiders said they was trying to protect him and they didn't want him to get more injured. But Maxx Crosby took it as they was trying to tank on purpose to get the first round draft. We don't know what it is, but based off whatever the Baltimore Ravens saw, they decided before 4 p.m. today on March the 11th, whatever they saw was not worth the risk of losing 2 first round picks for Maxx Crosby. Now, I'm surprised, since Dallas was going to give up a first round, at least 1 first round for Maxx Crosby. I'm surprised they haven't come out and gave an offer for Maxx Crosby. That's what I'm saying, and that's what the doctor also was saying. Just because Baltimore Ravens said no, another team could say yes. But have you heard of any offers on the table? Let's see. Let's go ahead. Let's see. Amber, you're right about that. I made it. What's up, Evelyn? I made it. Greetings, my sister and chat. Yes. Hello, Evelyn. Let's see here. Do you think Monken may also have a say? Hold on. Do you think Monken may have also had a say, being he had played with them twice? I'm not sure. I don't know who's talking to who behind the scenes, on the phones, in emails. I don't know. Right now, this thing, the dust is just settling. People has been talking about this all day long, still talking about this. So I'm still taking notes. But, I think this is what the good doctor's about to say. Hold on, it's just about 30 more seconds. Here's the point of what I said earlier. He said,
allegedly. Now, we don't know the ins and outs of this entirely. I think the whole world...
allegedly.
Now, Now, we don't know the ins and outs of this entire.
So I'm going to put this on mute. But at the end, the doctor said, somebody asked the doctor, have you seen this before? The doctor said he has never seen no team, no NFL team in history break this type of agreement on this magnitude. So yes, collusion, a lot of people are saying that. And I hate to say it, investors, but you know I have integrity. I have integrity. So don't hold against me what I'm about to say. But this morning, I'm trying to get breakfast. And Speakeasy came up on my timeline. I didn't go look for them, but it had Maxx Crosby across the thumbnail. And they said something about disrespectful or something like that. So while I'm fixing my breakfast, I listened to the video. Everybody on that podcast, even Emmanuel Acho, said this was total BS. They basically said if the Baltimore Ravens did this to Maxx Crosby just to get Trey Hickerson or Henderson or Hickorix, whatever his name is, they said that was total BS. But based on what the doctor said, the NFL is not even going to investigate this because any team, for any trade, for any agreement, even the free agency, they have to 4:00 p.m. on Wednesday, on March the 11th, to solidify any agreements. So they had the right to renege. Let's see what we talking about, investors. So all the black players can play with head injury CTEs. You said something there, Faith. Remember Antonio Brown? You said something there, Faith. But it was the teams that passed him. It was the teams that passed him in the physical. He was never right after that, and I will still say he needs help from that, and that is true. The last time I heard anything about Antonio Brown's, that particular AB, you know, he had those charges of trying to delete someone with the big M. So you're right. You're right. And I had the name wrong. His name is Daniel Jones, not a Josh Daniels or whatever, but you know who I was talking about. He failed the physical with the Colts and still was able, you know, he moved forward. He's moving forward with the Colts. But that's what I'm saying. Even the doctor saying just because the Baltimore Ravens didn't sign him, that doesn't prevent another team from signing him. So that's why I said, let's give it to Friday afternoon or Saturday morning and see what comes up. Now, this is what I do know. Since this has happened behind the scenes, the other teams can request copies of the MRIs or have Maxx Crosby go through their own physical checkups, which he may be doing, and we just probably haven't heard nothing about it. Because remember, Will Shepard with the Colorado Buffaloes, he was an undrafted free agent with Tampa Bay along with Shiloh Sanders. He didn't pass the physical. He went to the Broncos. He didn't pass the physicals. But the Green Bay Packers, a team that he's still on this year, signed him to a deal. So just because he didn't go to Baltimore, somebody else may come along and pick him up. It may be, what's his name? Jerry Jones. Who knows? We may be getting that news tomorrow. So we shall see. Let's give it to Friday afternoon, Saturday morning. And let's see what happens, investors. This should be illegal. Nothing was signed, Amber. I guess it was just a verbal agreement. Now, should you do that to players? No. But guess what? I'm pretty sure Maxx Crosby was comfortable in going to Baltimore, looking for homes, trying to get the family settled ahead of rookie minicamp and OTAs, because it's never happened before at this magnitude. And I'm letting this video play in the background until you get to the last minute so you can hear the doctor say it's never happened at this magnitude. Now, with the Raiders, and I'm going back to that tweet, the Raiders said that no further comment at this time. I told you they was pissed. The Raiders is hot. Listen, it's never happened at this magnitude. I'm trying to get to this place, investors. It's never happened at this magnitude. So collusion, yes. Have players failed physicals before and still went to the team? Yes. Yes. Somebody at the Baltimore Ravens, they have put a bad taste in probably every player that was probably interested in playing for the Baltimore Ravens because they reneged on such a level. Woo! Do you know if they can do it to a Maxx Crosby, they can do it to anybody else? Whoo! I want to see what the Baltimore Ravens free agency is going to look like after today. Okay, dirty, the dirt. Now they're the two dirty birds, them Ravens, not the Atlanta Falcons. Now the Atlanta Falcons are just going to be the sick birds, baby. They about to get, this about to be a bad year for Atlanta. This should be illegal. These people were not items for Walmart. You are right. They are forgetting the human capacity of it. But they're thinking about business right now. Like I said, I don't know what was in his records. I don't know what was in his MRI, but they said no. But let's remember, just because the Baltimore denied it, there could be another team working on something in the background. And my thing is, the Raiders, if they was willing to trade him to another team, they're also probably working in the backgrounds. But guess what? They're not going to get a 1 and a 1. They're not going to get a first rounder this year, and probably not a second rounder, especially based off the status of that knee. You can't run, you can't cut, you can't move to the left or the right, back, front, and center with a torn meniscus. And if he rush it, he's going to tear it more. Let's keep going. Illegal. It's time for lawsuit. But they didn't sign nothing. They didn't sign nothing, Fate. That's what I've heard a lot of platforms say it. Nothing was signed. Now, if something was signed, that'd be totally different. But nothing was signed. Let's see here. Let's see what this good doctor's saying right here. I'm watching this. You mean to tell me? Everybody said that. Listen, even Cam Newton said, Tua Tagovailoa in Atlanta? He said Tua Tagovailoa got question marks, periods, exclamation marks, and he could get 1 year. And the Baltimore Ravens didn't even attempt to modify the contract or the agreement that they had with the Raiders. Can it really be that bad? I don't know. Daniel Jones failed his and still went to. I don't know. I don't know. Trust me, more is going to come out about this. Trust me, this is 24 hours. More is going to come out about this. Okay. Yeah, listen. I thought Tua was definitely going to medically retire after last year. Whew. Okay, let's see what the good doctor's saying. Hold on.
Please. From the Trey Hendrickson camp that we have learned, both from Shedeur and from our own research into that world, is that they were basically fantasizing about a time with he and Maxx Crosby on the same D-line. So I don't think they potentially knew that was the case. But as soon as that deal gets announced, and they still have the 1 and the 2, it's like, ooh, this was clearly we didn't know, but now we can, and we get buyer's remorse type deal is what the initial public reaction is, that it's a bad deal. How often does this take place? It doesn't feel like this happens that often, especially with how highly sought after Maxx Crosby was, how big of a deal it was, and especially the Ravens organization. It doesn't feel like this would be something that would be coming out of there. How often does this type of thing take place, Doc, in your predictor?
This type of thing has never happened in my experience. Not of this magnitude, not involving 2 first-round trades. And remember, the landscape has changed over the last few days of who's available and draft picks and cap and so forth. And now the deal reverts. It's never happened like this before. There have been lots of incidences where a player has failed a physical and some trades have not become final, not of this magnitude. Lots of incidences where a free agent signing doesn't conclude, including in 2014, the Raiders agreed to a deal in free agency with Roger Saffold and then failed him on a physical, and he reverted for less money to the then St. Louis Rams. So failed physicals do happen, and no trade or signing is final until the physical is passed.
All right, we appreciate the hell out of you for your...
Woo! Ain't Tony Talks Vested Up is good. That just dropped in my lap to this morning, and I just said, just let me hit play while I'm hitting breakfast, and I didn't know that particular clip was going to be so massive today. But 2 things that the doctor said, it has never happened to be 3 things. It's never happened before on this magnitude. It's not no trade or no agreement is solidified until someone signs that dotted line, and players have failed physicals before, and either they adjust the contract and move forward. Okay, so there it is, Vestas. Let me go to the comments. Woo, Vestas, yes. It's been deep. Beauty, blind beauty, I don't understand that either. Let me see what blind beauty. Listen. I don't know. I'm surprised that the doctors allowed Tua to pass the physical. I don't know. I thought really he was gonna medically retire. I'm tired. Tua pass, Maxx Crosby doesn't. Don't know. From my understanding, you can even sue. That is true, but maybe the NFL is different because the doctor said, and everybody has said several times in this clip, is not confirmed or concrete until after 4 o'clock on Wednesday. But yes, regular civilians, yes. If we agree upon a verbal contract, yes, that can hold up in court. But I guess not in the NFL. And like I said, Maxx Crosby probably thought that even though he had an injury with his knee, he still was going to be okay, not pass the physical, but still be able to play for the Baltimore Ravens. I'm pretty sure he thought that. I'm sure he thought that. You know why? Because it's never happened before at this magnitude. So Maxx Crosby is going to be the first one in history this has happened to on this magnitude. And the way that the Raiders wrote up that tweet, they are mad as hell. Excuse my French.